A massive crowd at the O2 Arena in London. They were rocking and rolling, strutting and strolling all night. We had a couple championships change hands. We had one fake out ending in that main event title program. And then they ended with that lights out cage match stuff that I knew wasn't going to be for me, but somehow it ended up even not meeting those low expectations. Boy, oh boy, god damn it. You had Bischoff versus Flair. You had Hogan versus Savage. You had Ole versus everyone. Now you got me versus the goddamn Deathriders. Forget just me against Wheeler Yuta. Roddy needs to knock up Marina again just so she can stop pretending to be a professional wrestler. And maybe, just maybe, we need to recreate the scene from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre when the guy went in the house and confronted Leatherface and the door slammed. Hey, Yuta, you got a second? You want to do something like that? I'm John Ritlin with my review of AEW X New Japan Forbidden Door 2025. I'm not going to be kind to the main event. I don't care if you guys like that I'm not going to be kind to the main event. Every time I give this company a chance, they give me some stuff that I like. And I don't mind violence in a cage match. I don't mind violence in a main event match. But they do this on almost every pay-per-view and even some of their television programs. To the point, it's all the same shit, so they have to do more insane shit. Stuff that is not fucking wrestling. Let's get fucking into it. By the way, I took today off because I needed a break and also I wanted to watch this live. I'm kind of regretting that, even though I usually work a short shift on Sunday. I could have just come home and got a little bit more money, but whatever, it's fine. I needed the day off. The panel was Renee, Jeff. Remember when Jeff Jarrett was going to go after the world title and they totally forgot about that? Yeah. RJ City was there. Madison Rain, who works there as a trainer. And they added 4 matches to 0 Hour. This is after I did my predictions Thursday morning. Leo Rush and Action Andretti, known as the Crew. That's CRU, the Children Reversal Unit, meaning they're going to reverse into children. Or maybe they'll reverse out of being children and actually grow to be full-grown adults. Leo Rush was not on the side with the fans, which is where he should be. And their partners were from the Don Callis family, which I have to say, look, I don't actually care if they want to try to build a stable, but you're building it around Don Callis, who has not meant anything to mainstream professional wrestling since he was in Kenny Omega's corner, and even then, that's pushing it. So, Josh Alexander, who means nothing, I keep forgetting he's there, and Hechicero, took on El Desperado, Roderick Strong, Kyle O'Reilly, and Yuya Yamura. That's a name that Alex Kozlov kept trying to pronounce and just couldn't. And Alex Kozlov was a pretty passionate wrestling announcer, former wrestler, but nevertheless, fuck Don Callis' chance. Look, the crowd was filling in. They were pretty raucous. Despy needs to cool down the death matches because he is getting scars all over his body. The match happened, and a double underhook bridge from Yuya got the victory. Good. He pinned Leo, which is fitting. That goddamn little Nimrod doesn't deserve a push. A beatdown, and suddenly Tomohiro Ishii shows up, and Lance Archer, who is just like that one guy that's just standing in the yard, not doing anything, but you know it's going to be good. Everybody dies. Aw. I was going to do an Mbop intro for this, but after that cage match, and more about Mbop in a bit, I decided this show doesn't deserve that. Just wanted to say that right there. So, yeah, Ishii lifted up Archer. Pretty bad that Archer's in better shape than Ishii. So, the Rico Gates, as I'm calling them, Ricochet, Bishop Khan, and Toa Leona took on Michael Oku, who apparently is there with his main squeeze, Amaris Blair, something. I didn't quite catch it. She was bigger than half the women's roster, and I mean that with respect. Oku teamed up with Jet Speed. I've heard of Michael Oku. I've maybe seen one match with him, to be honest. It might have been against Ospreay. Oku's not bad. He nearly died doing a goddamn flip over the top. I hope he's okay. There were bald chants. And the match was fine. Everybody did flips. Got a moonsault for 2. A distraction. A Tower of Doom. And then, you know, we got tower like stuff all over the place. We actually got, you know, we actually got the Gates of Agony hitting like the double choke slam spot thing. And then we got the Spirit Gun, which, by the way, I don't expect Ricochet to do 630 or high-impact moves, finish his matches. But the Spirit Gun, it doesn't look like it would break rice paper. So there you go. The heels won. It's fine for what it was. The Triangle of Madness with Sky Blue, Tekla, and Julia Hart, along with Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford at ringside, which is probably where she should be because Penelope has not improved at all. Against Willow Nightingale, Queen Aminata, Harley Cameron, and Chris Statlander. Well, they tried. They tried. They did their best. They did their stuff, and there was a Ken Patera reference, Hydra McDonald's food. This went a while. The Queen and Tekla just fought off. They just fought off. A lot of fighting off in this whole goddamn thing. Harley took her mask off and just bludgeoned Megan in the face. Feeling the wrath, I guess. And yeah, it was what it was. There was a pounce, and then more, and then the heels got the victory. It wasn't bad, but it was just what it was. More Stupid Bucks comedy. Look, I would appreciate this trolling if it was earned, but I'm sorry, this stuff with the Bucks just doesn't amuse me because they've never been funny. They're as good at comedians as they are professional wrestlers. And that's really not saying much of anything. They wanted all their weapons properly, implemented. Dr. Martha Hart shows up along with Tony Khan, who looks like he hasn't shaved in about 5 weeks. Stop having Tony Khan on television. I know it's his company. I know he's passionate. That's fine. Have Brian be the director of authority or something. They could do that, but no. Tony doesn't understand how a mic works. He just screams. He just screams in it like he doesn't know the microphone is on and it will carry. One of Owens' sons is there. And after a bit of awkwardness, Martha's like, so how's everybody doing tonight? Hello, Cleveland. Stop having Tony Khan. Oh, Jesus. Whatever. We're almost at the main show. The OPPs, yeah, you know me. Joe Shibata with his new brain and Hobbs took on Clark Connors, Drilla Maloney, Dermot Maloney, and Robbie X with Gato, who deserves to be fired for what he has done to New Japan. I'm not saying he's the sole reason the New Japan's bad, but I'm saying he deserves a lot of the blame. And Bullet Club, for the love of God, and Bullet Club. And Bullet Club War Dogs, these dogs should go the way of Old Yeller as far as I'm concerned. In fact, do that to Gato. Oh, he's not rabid? Oh, well. A Muscle Buster, pin Robbie X. There you go. Let's get to the main card. Opening video package with the main matches. Excalibur, Danielson, and Shivani on commentary. Danielson switched off a little bit. I'm sorry, but Excalibur just doesn't have it. He does not have it to call these. They need to get a better commentator. Bring Walker Stewart over. I know he's calling New Japan. He's doing great at it. Walker Stewart could present it like a sport. I know they had Kevin Kelly, and then Kevin Kelly dumped himself out of position. Okay. So, Copeland got a big pop. So did Christian. He has asshole in his entrance. The word, not an actual asshole. That would be very bad, and I don't think censors would like it. We get a sing-along for Copeland. And he took on Kip Sabian, whose gear was a choice. And Lucha Kill Switch, whatever. Along with Shayna Wayne, who, my word, with respect, Shayna Wayne. Fabulous woman. Only talked to her a couple times in indie shows. Very happy for her. Really wish Nick had been over there, but he got injured. The crowd was into this. Kip kept bullying the Dino, which did not go very well. Kip got busted open, I think, on a chop and like something. I don't know what the hell happened, but he got chopped and he got busted open, like in a tag. Shayna distracts Cage, and that leads to eventually, building up to the hot tag, where this is so stupid. Because Kip is on Luchasaurus' shoulders, like he's trying to do this, but then he sees that Copeland is about to come off, and instead of just setting his partner down, he lets Copeland hit him, and then they both fall down. Maybe he's done with this stuff, and he's just going to go off on his own. Somebody said the Jungle Boy is going to come back, which, yeah, that's what I want to see, is Jack Perry return to his, character that had already gotten pretty old before he turned heel. I'm not disagreeing with the idea, by the way, and they know who they are, and they are, a very good friend of mine, and we have some great chats, but I just don't want to see Jack Perry return. So, Cage finally got tagged. This match was all right. It wasn't great. Cage did the diving headbutt. Great. We have a Canadian wrestler / family man doing the diving headbutt. If Christian Cage had won the Royal Rumble from the number 1 position, the family may need to hide and get the dogs out of the enclosed pool area. And then a lift spear, 1, 2, 3. And, hey, Christian, I want to know if you'll be my guy, was the song they were singing throughout the whole thing. Like, hey, Bailey, I want to know if you'll be my girl. And Kyle Fletcher took on Hiromu Takahashi, who are not girls. And this for the TNT title, and we got Pyro for the Proto. Walker Stewart was on commentary. That's a good thing. Chris Charlton wasn't, because he rightfully called out Tony Khan for what he did to the New Japan roster, which could be blamed on Bushiroad for not matching the money, or at least trying, but that's why Chris Charlton probably wasn't there. To be perfectly honest, Chris Charlton had every right to say what he said, but I totally get why Tony Khan might hold a grudge. Why are they putting Callis on commentary? It's not him getting his group over. He doesn't do that. And also, they have enough commentators that don't know what the fuck they're doing there. And I like Shivani. Shivani should not be doing commentary. When he does the interviews, that's fine. But his time at commentary came to an end a while ago. They just need to move on from that. Keep him in the company. He's probably a stooge for Tony Khan. But there we are. Callis at one point said, I like my men to be bred. With or without the crust. I know what he was saying, but still. A back superplex. They were actually doing some good stuff. There was some good action here. I don't think Hiromu's ever going to get the main event push that he deserves in New Japan. But we got an apron spike, a flip bomb outside, a destroyer, and eventually a rear drop brain thruster. I think that's what they call it. Got the victory, and there you are. That's fine. So, Renee narrates a 4-way package, which I'm fairly certain she probably does not know anything about the tournaments that she was talking about. To be fair, I don't really know much about them either, but she sounded like she was reading off the teleprompter. So, Mercedes gets a big old British entrance with a bunch of those, British guards holding her championships. The ones that these companies keep giving her, and it's serving absolutely no purpose except to serve her ego. She has 9 titles now. 9, just to beat the Ultimo Dragon thing. I think that was 8. Ultimo Dragon actually was interesting to watch and, enjoy. And Mercedes can do the moves and everything and can put on some good stuff, but yeah, this is old. Mercedes comes out last. We get Alex Windsor coming out to a big pop. Persephone, who apparently is in the beginning of her career, is only like in her mid-20s. Bozilla is one I've heard about. Saw some clips of her in Stardom. I've seen like one full match. I know she was part of like whatever their G1 star tournament thing is. She looks good. She has an impressive, physical charisma about her. She's in her early 20s, only in the beginning of her career. I think like 3 years in is what they were saying. And okay, they gave her some power spots. She did some good stuff there. The crowd was actually pretty much solidly behind her. I mean, they were behind Windsor also because, not Windsor, Ontario, but Alex Windsor, because she is from nearby wherever. I don't actually remember where she's from. Did they say Nottingham? I know the sheriff there. But they gave her some power spots. Mercedes was in NWO gear. Unfortunately for her, it was NWO 2000. And much like NWO 2000, her promos give me the same feeling that Bret Hart probably felt when Bill Goldberg kicked himself in the head at Starrcade 99, or kicked him in the head. Kicked himself in the head. Bill Goldberg would find a way to do that too. So, they did some good stuff. Windsor threw them off the top and lifting herself up, but might have hurt her knee. We got the big lasses colliding with each other. And then we got a razor's edge. And then, a roll-up won it. A roll-up out of goddamn nowhere. I believe Persephone took the pin, which, whatever. I mean, I'm not surprised Mercedes won, but this is ridiculous. Has the TBS title meant less? I mean, Jade had it. I'm not saying it meant a whole bunch of everybody, at least they tried to build it up. But Statlander won it, and I believe Julia had it, and just Willow had it for a month. And I was hoping she would have it longer, but no. Mercedes has held it. It will be almost a year and a half now by this point. It is getting ridiculous. Cut to Nigel and Johnny Saint playing chess. This is fitting because Johnny Saint was around when chess was invented. And I know he's apparently a legend as far as British scraps. I don't care. He was the GM of the ill-fated NXT UK brand. You know, the Sid Scalia was part of, and geez, there's somebody in the main event that defended him. So anyways, ESJ and Nigel had a decent match for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship of the world. And Daniel Garcia had a towel, and I thought, oh, he's going to throw in a towel or turn heel on Nigel. He didn't. This match was fine. You could tell it meant a lot to Nigel. It was good technical wrestling. It wasn't as great as Danielson versus Zack Sabre Jr. that I was there for at Wrestle Dream 2023, but it was good. A roll-up won it. Garcia did not turn, and Shivani announced that the attendance is 18,992. Now, I don't know if they got to 18,000, but or I don't know if they got to near 19,000, but they were able to beat, I believe, the WWE record in that building. I think it was the WWE record, which means that they will probably try to run that building here soon and just have the small screen and try to do it, but charge massively higher ticket prices. And for those that were in attendance for this show, let me know what the prices were. You can put British dollars, but if you can translate it to American dollars and everything, do that. And then if you've been to a WWE show in the UK area recently, give me a comparison with those numbers. I want to see something. Because I may knock AEW, and I'm going to knock it here in a little bit, but at least they are charging decent prices for their tickets. So, Amanada and Thekla, whatever, are still fighting. The Triangle Madness go to join her, and then suddenly, Jamie Hayter makes her return, looking as only she can look, and boom, boom, boom. Kisses her biceps. I don't know why she keeps doing that, but it is what it is. FTR, the Hurt Syndicate, and Brodito take on each other in a three-way AEW tag title match. Let me say, there are some good moments to be seen in this match. Unfortunately, a lot of that was undone by the end of this match. They loved Brody. The crowd was going nuts, saying things. The big lads were colliding. Lashley and Brody wouldn't be a bad program to see. I mean, I think they could actually make it work. Everybody just dived. There was a fall-away slam, flip off the top that Bandito did to Dax that sort of worked. Two guys in suits, New Japan suits, just attack, and then suddenly it's three guys. And they attack the Hurts, and they fight off. It's Rico Gates. They were with MJF, and MJF's upset at the Hurt Syndicate. Okay, they're probably going to go with that, and fine. Probably is going to lead to MJF failing his attempt to cash in, or he has to defend his contract against Mark Briscoe, which will lead to Mark Briscoe winning it, and then that'll lead to him teaming up with that, and maybe the Hurts get one more person, because they're going to need one more person if they're going to take on, MJF and three other people. Even if Ricochet and his baldness basically is half a person. But the chair to Brody's skull during this, and see, that's where they fucked up. They were having this attack, and then they did the chair shot, and that wasn't the finish. I mean, they did lead to Brodito getting the victory, but Brody got a chair smash over his head just a bit ago. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they're doing sometimes. I'm not upset Brodito won, but it was messy. Okada and Swerve took on each other for the undisputed, unified Continental whatever championship. JR joined commentary, didn't seem to care. The Mr. Terrific Swerve cosplay was fine. I don't care about Okada anymore. I'm sorry, I just don't. If you hate Dawn, you're in Swerve's house, is what they were saying. The crowd was. Swerve sold his knee, but hit some moves. Okada eventually hit the Rainmaker. Got his knee targeted afterwards. Swerve did. Nana came out to stop it. And as Okada and Callis were walking away, Callis had mentioned earlier on the pre-show something about an insurance policy. Suddenly, somebody shows up, and it's Wardlow, who apparently was on an American Gladiators reboot, and otherwise has not been seen on AEW programming since the whole Devil thing with Cole went absolutely nowhere, and I have not seen him on their television for a year and a half. I think the last time was sometimes in March or April. I genuinely cannot remember the last time I saw him. But he does that, and okay, bless Wardlow, but if he is part of the Callis group, he's going to get lost in the shuffle. It's not going to mean anything. Takeshita shows up, and faces off with Wardlow, and just, I mean, I guess they're priming Takeshita to do something. He won the G1. This Callis group is terrible. It's fucking terrible. What wasn't terrible is Toni Storm versus Athena with Billy Starks in the corner. AEW Women's Title match. This is Athena's cash-in. Toni Storm. We got a Storm Zero to Billy Starks on the outside early on, and okay, that makes sense. Target the neck for massive damage, and the crowd was split. There were some cheers for Athena, who has been doing a lot of good stuff. I mean, granted, it's been on Ring of Honor, but she's also done some good stuff on AEW programming, and Athena is good. Athena's very good. But at least they built this match well as they can, given how janky the television can be sometimes. Toni got tied up in her clutch. That is not a euphemism. And a Storm Zero for 2. Then a distraction. And the O-face where Toni's neck could have been, the jack up on the goddamn steps, like the pile driver on the steps on Dynamite. That's an affected, area. Oh no, Toni's going to lose. Well, Shirakawa shows up and just bounces her way to chasing Billy Starks off. And then we got, the chicken wing after the block of the second O-face. And there we go. Tap out. Athena failed her cash-in. She's going to hold the Ring of Honor Championship to 1,000 days or more. She's probably going to lose it to Billy Starks. Probably will blame Billy Starks for this, and it'll lead to Athena beating Mina Shirakawa, but losing it to Billy Starks, which, I don't know how well that's going to work, but if it's a story they built, it is what it is. Athena, however, probably should be the one to beat Mercedes for the TBS Championship. Something. Get the title off of Mercedes. Get it onto somebody that I actually want to listen to talk, that I don't feel like just smacking myself in the goddamn head until I can't think anymore. AKA everything that Mercedes says basically makes me wish that the power of speech was not given out so freely. You are not your character. You are about half as good as you think you are, honey. If you had any goddamn acting talent, you'd be in Hollywood, but you don't. So, MJF gets is out in a robe and gets some pyro. Hangman gets a pop and some pyro. MJF versus Hangman, AEW World Title match. And, the title can change by countout or disqualification. More on that here in a second. And MJF doesn't have to use his contract. Okay, fine. There you go. You have the heel being, having all the advantages against the babyface. Makes sense. Can Hangman control his temper? There was a spike pile driver. MJF is smooth, and when he is on, there are few fucking better than him in the ring. There was a moonsault outside, and Uri wore a moonsault. I don't know what Excalibur says. I don't care. But we got a counter after feigning the injury into the salt of the earth. That was nice. We got a table being brought out. A deadeye through the table. That's not a DQ. Okay. And a foot on the ropes MJF got. So, okay, Hangman then got sent into a chair. But MJF's like it was an accident. And Hangman came up with, I must kill Pap Schmear. The camera cut away for 45 seconds or more. And I'm not saying people need to blade like Eddie Guerrero. I mean, if you're going to get blood, this is the match to do it because of how they built it. But Jesus Christ. And then a tombstone under the broken table, because why not? And then we get a spot where MJF goes head first and starts bleeding. And bleeds probably a little too deep, and he's trying to keep all the blood in his head instead of going under. But then, we got roll-ups like crazy. I mean, this actually was a really good match. I really was enjoying it, but there were aspects of it where I'm like, how is this not a DQ? What's going on? A deadeye for 2. And MJF ends up, giving Hangman the ring, and he's gonna hit him, and then he spits in his face. And then a low blow, because the referee got knocked out. Low blow. Heat seeker. 1, 2, the foot's on the ropes, by the way. 3. Oh shit, Bryce didn't see it. And MJF's like just celebrating and everything and this kind of stuff, but he doesn't knock the foot off the ropes this time like he did with Briscoe. Suddenly, Mark Briscoe shows up after nearly being set on fire by MJF on Dynamite. Remember that. And security stops him. But he just manages to distract long enough, and then MJF looks, notices the ref doesn't see the foot, goes to knock the foot off, and Bryce just points at him, says, I saw it, we're going to restart the match. Okay, good fake out. I'll give him that. But then we get another low blow, and then the contract to the head, but just a 2 count. And then MJF gets the ring, and Bryce turns around and catches him. So finally, the AEW refs do something. And then basically he takes that away, and Hangman hits him in the head with the contract. Pieces of that fucker go flying. He hits the Deadeye, hits the buckshot. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'll buy into that, even though it was messy at the end. That's fine. So there you go. That's pretty much where we're at. Now let's get to this bullshit. This abomination of a match. This putrid goddamn... It wasn't as bad as Anarch Queef in the arena, but it was pretty bad. I knew it wasn't going to be for me, but I was at least hoping there were things I was going to enjoy. And then I remember Gabe Kidd was in this, who has defended Sid Scala and various others. And I'd just like to say Gabe Kidd doesn't deserve to be in the wrestling business because he's not any good. At best, he's an adequate worker. With the right person, he might be seen as decent. I mean, Kenny Omega got a good match out of him. But that's the only good Gabe Kidd match I've seen in a while. He pulled out of the G1 because of an injury, but he's doing matches like this, so the injury couldn't have been that bad. He just got all soft and everything and decided to run from the grind. Look, wrestling is a tough goddamn business. I'm sure it is. I could only imagine how it is, but Gabe Kidd ain't tough in the slightest. So, we do get the entrances for the people that take about 12 years, and we get an Ospreay package where Alex is all over Will's package. Narrating it, I mean. Get your minds out of the gutter. Ospreay gets a big pop, and the Bucks get their old music, and it's Bop by Hanson. Fun fact, my sister needed somebody to go to Hanson, or go to a concert that Hanson was putting on at the Moore Theater in Seattle. For those that are Washingtonians that have been there, you know that's not really the best venue. It's very intimate. It's also very old and very crowded. And imagine me being one of the few guys around a bunch of screaming girls. They put on a good concert when I could hear it, but my ears were ringing for a while. But my sister had fun, needed somebody to go with, and they actually are pretty good in concert. Playing Bop, that was okay. That was fun. Is Hanson even still making music? I mean, genuine question. So it's Will Ospreay, Kenny Omega, or rather, Kenny Omega! Anyway, so Kota Ibushi, Darby Allin, and Tanahashi. Did you note the disdain that I have in my voice for Darby Allin? I will explain why. They took on Jon Moxley, who is the worst main event talent they have pushed in a while. Claudio, that I don't even want to see anymore. The Bucks, or the Jobbers. What? It would be funny if the Bucks were funny. And Gabe Kidd, the noted pest defender. And Wheeler Yuta, that diseased pile of afterbirth. His parents need to be brought up on fucking war crimes for telling him, you can be a wrestler. They should have said, you need to find something else to do. He should have been a goddamn firefighter. I mean, hell, he could have just doubled as the goddamn hose that they used to spray down the building. He's about that size. Just mop top fucking idiot that can't do anything right. More on that here in a minute. And Marina Shafir, who Roddy knocked this bitch up so she is not allowed to plague this program. God damn it. She at one point says, fuck you, Kate. Yeah, fuck you, you talentless twat. You're lucky that anybody even looks at you as anything more than just somebody that if you actually coughed, your inverted chest would poke through your goddamn ribs and stab you in the heart. I shouldn't body shame, but god damn, I'm sure she's nice. I don't care. She's been at the 5 wrestling shows in Seattle. I don't care. Jesus. This Deathrider stuff has gone on forever and a day that's never. And they need to fucking end it. It is ridiculous that this stuff has gone on this long, and it's not even good heat. Because I've gotten to the point where on their television, if they have a Deathriders match, I barely watch any of it. Because how can I? The pay-per-views reportedly are going to Max soon, and I hope so, because spending $50 a pop for this shit, I'm already not going to spend $30 a month on WWE pay-per-views. I've said that. And I'm reaching the end of my goddamn rope like David Carradine in Bangkok to want to order these goddamn shows. And don't get me wrong, there were some good points on this show. And I knew I probably wasn't going to like this, but Jesus Christ, a lights out cage match. How long before they get stupid? It took a few minutes. And I knew once I saw tables and ladders, and I saw some other stuff that was going to be implemented, I knew there were going to be things I didn't like in this. I don't care if people bleed. At one point, there were people that were bleeding stupidly. I didn't care if they bled out in the goddamn ring. Instead of thumbtacks, we got gummy bears. So why take this seriously? Because the Bucks can't be funny. They're fucking birthers. They're fucking goddamn idiots. They deserve to be ridiculed. They believe in the Bible, which is a bullshit book, by the way. And if you believe in the Bible and you don't agree, that's fine. But the Bucks are the worst type of Christians. So, yeah, gummy bears instead of thumbtacks. Ospreay was bleeding. I hope he's all right, by the way. He says his neck couldn't get any worse. Yes, it can. And this was complete bullshit. It was so goddamn putrid. The Bucks, they can't do comedy. They can't wrestle to save their goddamn lives. And yes, I praise what they did against Swerve and Ospreay at All In. Despite my reservations, I can praise stuff when it makes sense. This didn't make sense. Because building up this like blood feud, Ospreay wanting to get revenge on Jon Moxley, and it's so ridiculous. And then, there was a press slam by Claudio to Darby, into the cage wall. That was a nice spot. And then, Darby then gets a fork in his ear, where it looks like his ear is getting separated from his goddamn skull. Maybe it was. I don't goddamn know. I apologize for ever saying that Darby should be in the main event scene with doing stupid stuff like this. And I met him at multiple shows. I knew that he probably wasn't the smartest person with some of the bumps that he takes. He took a bump on tax in front of 500 fucking people in Seattle in a match against Swerve before Swerve went to NXT, and they wasted him. But goddamn, get the fork in your ear, because Moxley can't fucking goddamn wrestle. He should have left rehab and gone to goddamn Hollywood or whatever, because ever since he has come back, it has been a rapid descent in the bullshit. And Tana, by the way, if you've noticed, I have barely mentioned here, because it's just so goddamn stupid. There's a barbed wire table, because we can't take this seriously and it's fake as fuck. JR sounds like he is totally checked out here, which I don't fucking blame him, because I was checked out by this goddamn point. And this was a mess even more than I expected. It was just ridiculous. And again, bleed out for all I fucking care. But Ospreay dives on everyone. A one-wing angel gets broken up. They're protecting that finish. That's fine. All this whole thing. And then JR says, Yuta wants to get more involved than he deserves. Thank you, JR. If only Tony Khan agreed that this is a pile of worthless fucking afterbirth didn't deserve this spot. Fuck you, goddamn Wheeler Yuta. How dare you call yourself a professional wrestler when you are nothing more than goddamn just a blob on the floor. I'm just a wrestling fan at the end of the goddamn day. I'm not saying I could step in the fucking ring. But god damn it, I see people in the indies killing themselves, and you get this goddamn moron that can't do shit right. He takes a fall off the goddamn table, or off the cage, through a table, and guess what? The table doesn't want to sell. Because even the table knows that Wheeler Yuta is goddamn useless. Despy should have taken his goddamn mask and whipped him with it. Teach this stupid motherfucker a lesson. I mean, just beat him about the head and face. Say, you want to be a wrestler? You want to be a wrestler? Daniel Bryan, or Bryan Danielson rather, I can't believe I'm actually still calling him Daniel Bryan. Apparently, really pushed for Wheeler Yuta there. So prove that people in Aberdeen aren't all that fucking smart. Oh, he was a nice guy. Okay, well, guess what? People thought Jim Jones was a nice guy, and we saw how that came out. But yeah, the table didn't even want to sell for him. Because the table knows that Yuta's goddamn useless. And then Marina Shafir saying, fuck you, Kenny. Somebody needed to just throw something at her. A cup of ice or something. They did in the territory days. I'm not advocating for violence against goddamn wrestlers, but if people are going to be in spots they don't fucking deserve, then they need to be taught where they need to be. Know your place, Marina. Your place ain't in a goddamn wrestling company that actually has money. Same with Yuta. So anyway, Darby and Kid fall off the goddamn cage through some tables. Oh, New Japan's not going to be happy about that. Well, Kid's the one that said he was injured, but he's taking bumps like this, so maybe invest in people that actually matter. High Fly Flow won it. Okay, $1 took the pin. Ospreay then is getting the throbbing adulation, and then we get a beatdown after all the other faces have left. And the LPPs show up, and they Pillmanize his goddamn neck. Okay, it makes sense if you had a group and wanted to get some steam on him and take out Ospreay, who I do not think will be back for at least a year. I don't think he'll be back for Wembley. And I know Wembley is just, it's a year and a week away as of this recording. But the fact that they think that this was a good main event, this is something good to put on. Jon Moxley needs to go away for a year. Take Yuta with him. Oh, Yuta's not hurt? That's unfortunate. Yuta hurts my goddamn eyes every time I fucking watch him. And Marina, put her in the ring or don't have her. Because you can have valets. Penelope should be a valet. Penelope can at least bump and feed and stuff like that. Marina can't do that. Moxley sells like shit. All of this just dragged down a show that was mostly serviceable. It wasn't as long as All In. I'm getting ever closer to not reviewing the TV Weekly. I may be able to make it to the end of the year. I've already given up on WWE Television Weekly. But that being said, not for me. But goddamn, Wheeler Yuta not being able to even do a table bump right. It's no fucking shock. Goddamn freaking... I don't think stem cell therapy could actually make him any better. Stem cells would probably just say, you know what, we'll just be over here dying instead of helping him. Agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter, Letterboxd, Blue Sky handles in the description. I'm John Ritland. Until we're at the Forbidden Door again, which really isn't forbidden. It's more just like a door that just leads to Narnia. You know, the 3 live action movies that progressively got worse. That being said, see you soon.